It's your boy, November 21st, a couple days before Thanksgiving 2023, man. Appreciate you guys tapping in, man, as we always do. This is the weekly tap in, and I'm tapping in. It's good, y'all. Make sure you guys share this with your folks, man. Whoever's in for information and inspiration, man. This is always an episode for you. It's always something that you can relate to, whether it's this episode, a previous episode, et cetera, et cetera. Man, make sure if you're listening for the first time or the 55th time, it doesn't matter. Put it in the chat, man, where you tapping in from, man. We love to hear where you tapping in from. So thank you guys for joining me. It was tough today, man. Your boy went to the dentist, so I was like, man, I didn't know if I was gonna make this episode, man. I really truly didn't. So I'm here. I'm making sure that I'm tapping in with my folks. Feeling that good energy from wherever you're listening to from all over the world, man. We do get people listening from all over the planet. So shout out to you guys as well, man. We could not do this without you. Just a quick story, man. I was watching T.I. on an interview, and I guess he had a podcast. It was like, why'd you quit podcasting? He was like, man, there wasn't enough money for me. Wasn't no money in that shit, as he said. You know what I'm saying? I'm sitting there listening. I'm like, man, there's a lot of people like that are coming into certain industries with the wrong intention, right? If you're coming into podcasting, you should just have the knack and ability to want to share information, not necessarily make a profit, right? What's going on, John? Appreciate you tapping in, man. As always, brother, and keeping your boy motivated. You should have intention of wanting to help someone, not necessarily with the intention of making money. If you go in with the intention of making money with the podcast, this is a long-term, if you make money type situation. You got to just have the passion and like I said, want to help people. There's people all over the world that need your help and guidance, man. You never know what your stories can do for someone. That's why I always say package it. Figure out how to package it, not in the sense of selling it, but a sense of understanding who your target audience is, who these stories will resonate with the best. And there are some. So make sure, as always, that you're telling those truthful stories. Like I tell people all the time, like on here, even with your guys, I share this stuff with you guys, the stuff I'm going through. Like this episode is only consult with people who have done what you're trying to do. So only consult with those who have done it. That's it. And what I mean by that, what's going on, Joe? Appreciate you tapping in, as always. What I mean by that is you want to talk to somebody who's done that before for two reasons. Because if you talk to someone who hasn't done it, they're going to tell you these horror stories about what they heard about, whether it's true or whether it's positive or negative, right? And you don't want to set yourself up for extreme disappointment basing it on what somebody else thinks or what they heard through the grapevine. And we've all had that experiment in classroom where you tell one story at one side of the classroom, by the time it gets to the other side of the classroom, it's completely different. And that's how a lot of hearsay and these stories go about. But when we talk to someone who's actually done what we're trying to do, and this is the thing too, I'm even gonna put a caveat on that, because even if you talk to someone who's doing what you're trying to do, there may be some missing elements that they don't talk to you about, right? That whether they're positive or negative, that they just may fail to mention to you. And those things can be a pleasant surprise or a shock to you. And understanding at that point that there are no identical paths. So even when you are seeking the advice of somebody else, you got to realize that was their written path. It's not necessarily something that you can duplicate and expect the same exact results. So I want to put that caveat in there when I say consult with those who have already done it, right? And I've told this story before. It was a friend of mine named Benny Brown. He ran KB. What was the station in New York? WBLS, right? Kid Capri was this guy, but he used to work. He was my boss when I worked in radio, and I used to be in there chopping it up with him all the time. And I told him, I was like, man, I want the 600. I had the 600 on my walls, like like a vision board. I had it on my vision board. I had a vision board at my desk, all that stuff. I was in all that, and I'm still am. And he was like, man, and this is the thing. This is why it's so important to talk to someone who's done it or consult with those who have done it, because when I talked to him about the 600, he was like, "You want what? You want?" He was like, "All right, let me tell you." He was like, "I had one." And I was like, that was the first thing. Like, it wasn't secondhand information. It wasn't hearsay. It wasn't any of that. I had one. Let me tell you this. And he said the maintenance on it was insane. He was like, everything is super expensive. Gas is crazy. And just think, that's the thing about with God. Like, you think you know what you want. I want the six. Why? Because Jay-Z said the six. And that's really it. It wasn't nothing more than that, right? You didn't go out there and say, well, what's the best Mercedes? Like, you hear other people talking about it. And that may be what their reality is, or whatever the case may be. I've heard people say certain things about Range Rovers, and it just so many different cars, which makes me like, I'm just glad my Camry runs cool. You know what I'm saying? I'm not on that. You know what I mean? And it was almost like that with this episode right here, because I was on some Andre 3000 shit. Like, I don't have anything to say. And sometimes, that goes so far. Like, having nothing to say is saying everything. You know what I mean? And once I listen to, like, not trying to switch gears or anything, but just shout out to Andre 3000 for his flute record. Is dope. If you haven't listened to it, it's gonna stretch your mind. Somebody called it megahertz music or something like that. So I haven't looked up megahertz music yet, but I will. And I know it does something to you. Whatever, he's got some magic going on with that record. It's gonna, if you're walking, it's gonna bring clarity. It brings out the green more. It does all kind of crazy stuff to you, man. Like, it turns your mind. It's like a mind enhancer. You know what I'm saying? So listening to that, and then I turned around and I turned on E40, because they're both of their records dropped at the same time. And I was like, man, I love 40. And I love what he doing. I wish he would rap more about that though. You know what I'm saying? Because now he's still talking about some of the stuff. He ain't saying he in it, but he talks out, just talk about brand building, homie. We get it. That's where we at right now. You know what I mean? And I understood what Andre 3000 was like. I'm not there anymore. So it's hard for me to relate. Like, I used to do juvenile hall talks, and I don't do them anymore. And I'm like, because I'm almost I'm beyond that stage where they can relate to me. You know what I mean? I'm almost 50 years old. I'm 47. So they're not going to relate to me anymore. There needs to be a younger version of me. Somebody who was recently, that they can be like, okay, I can see myself in this cat. You know what I mean? You can hear me, but I understand when it's time to step back and move on from certain situations. Not trying to switch gears or anything. I just wanted to kind of put that out there. You know what I mean? Like, you got to know when it's time. Like, when it's like, okay, it's time for me to move on to something different. It's time for me to be somebody different. It's time for me to embrace who I'm becoming. You know what I mean? With no fuss, no resistance, no, you know what I mean? Because you see some people resisting it. And that's okay. I understand. You know what I mean? Do whatever makes you happy, and what makes you thrive. But that record, man, throw that on when you got to figure something out. It's gonna take you there, I promise you that. But back to the topic, consulting those who have already done it. So when he talked to me about the 600 and just the maintenance on that, I'm like, damn, you saved me a lot of headache, because a lot of times what happens is we have these dreams and these ideas that are fantastic in thought, right? But when you start talking about the practicality of it, you're like, or like a mansion, everybody wants the big giant mansion. And it's like, okay, it sounds good until you have to sell it. And you think about that, you're like, okay, so I got to find somebody else who hit the lottery like me or whatever when I want to sell this, and hopefully, will I take a loss? More than likely. You know what I mean? So it's like, what, talk to somebody who has a mansion. Like, hey man, how's it? Like, bro, I can't stand this shit. I gotta get it. Da, 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 da. You're like, man, I didn't even think about that. Or even in business, like, hey man, because I was talking to my son goes to a dojo in Inglewood. Shout out to the Kenjis, man. Good family in Inglewood. But I was talking to the professor, I mean, the owner of the dojo, and he made the transition, and they had a smaller spot and he got the big spot now. It's really nice. It's amazing, man. You guys should follow him on Instagram at Kajakimbo, Kenji's Kajakimbo. But anyways, talking to him, he kind of leveled my expectations on our construction project. But hey, man, you're gonna be behind. Hey, man, it's gonna get done, but don't trip, don't stress yourself out. Just and just kind of settle my nerves. Like, dude, you going and it's good to talk to somebody with experience that doesn't say, "Oh man, shit, y'all still ain't open. Damn, oh shit, what when y'all he wasn't even it wasn't even like that. It was more like, okay, man, all right, just keep pushing. Like he understood where I'm at. And that's why, like, even when you're talking about money, you're talking about job experience, you're talking about any of this stuff, go talk to somebody. Don't talk to the jaded one. You want to talk, get a balance, and if you can't talk to someone, use YouTube. You know what I'm saying? And kind of figure it out. There's videos on everything. Trust me on that. And you can get feedback on things before if you can't get to someone who's actually done it. Talk about the experience of owning a mansion. I'm sure you can YouTube that and people will tell you stories and this and this and that. Like even when Manhattan Beach, this desired place, has really bad water, and like living close to the ocean, there's this thing with ocean water trying to penetrate our fresh water. It's a whole thing about it. And most people be like, "Man, I want to like me myself. I wanted a mansion in Manhattan Beach, a little baby one, where I can go around to the beach, go surf, fish at night, and do all that stuff. I want to do all that." But I'm like, man, when you start thinking about the water, we got kind of hard water where we're at right now. And that's presenting a pain on all of our our faucet and shower and all this stuff. So you start thinking about these things, you want, man, I need to probably just consult with some if I have to. Now, the other caveat I'll put in there, if you can't find somebody who's already done it, then consult with somebody who believes in you 1000%, no cut. So if you can't find someone who's, had experience, find someone who just believes in your dirty draws. No matter what you do, you can't do no wrong. You know what I'm saying? They just believe in everything you do is gravy. There's something about that energy that whether it's real or not, something about that belief in someone else just does magic for them. So if you can find someone that believes in you, not in a facetious manner, but more or less like, you know what? I know you got it, dog. You'll figure it out. Sometimes you just need to go because you got to realize, man, you like Rocky. You know what I'm saying? Or Apollo Creed. So when you get to the corner, you hoping like this is like to the house or wherever you got to go to take your little breath because life be whooping that ass, man. Life is a trip, and it sometimes it's merciless. So you need to go back in the corner like, yo, man, I need to hear some encouraging words sometimes, homie. If I can't talk to somebody who's already done it, I still need to hear encouraging words like, D, you got it. Because that might be all I need. Most of the stuff, like I tell my son in life, is in your head. It's mental, whether you believe it or not. That's the key. It's not so much of whether the reality is reality, man. I realize I can create my reality. I realize that. That's a lot of power, right? That's a lot of power. And once you understand that you can create your own reality, life will change for you. I promise you that. I'm just starting to discover that. Now, it doesn't always work, and that's the thing. It doesn't always work in the way we think it works, but it always works in the way it's supposed to. You know what I'm saying? That's the one thing I saw. I've been watching. We just finished watching Equalizer 3 with Denzel Washington. And one of the things of the movie, like what he kept saying was like he kept asking, he got shot or whatever, and he was in Italy, and he woke up and asked the guy, he's like, where am I? He was like, where you're supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? So, when you look at life, your things that are happening are this is written and designed. You got to embrace it. You know what I'm saying? And realize, it's okay. You're going to get your consultants when you need them, or that person that believes in your dirty draws. And what I mean by that is there's nothing that you can't do that they don't believe in. Of course you can do it. almost like a parental belief in their child, almost towards delusional. Of course you can do it. I believe my child can do it. You need someone to speak that kind of life in you on a regular basis, man. It does something for you. And if you got to have self-talks, what to tell yourself, D, you got it, man. You've been through this shit before. Say nothing to you, homeboy. Let's go. And you got to have them coaching moments, man, because there's gonna be times where you hit that dip. I'm hitting the dip right now, going through a computer. I'm on my laptop snapped, but this is the thing, like that, right? So when somebody tells you no, like the guys who fixed my laptop just fixed this. I just paid like $300 to get this fixed. So then I'm like, man, the warranty's up. It's cracked again because they didn't do it right the first time. Now I could sit there and argue and try to get the money back and use my energy that way. Or I could do what I'm gonna do. Look the shit up on YouTube, went bought the screen, and I'm about to learn a new skill. Period. Not gonna if I got a pace, the lesson's gonna be on me now. And that's how I'm embracing it. So when people tell me no now, I'm like, yo, you know what I'm saying? It stings at first. What's going on, Lewis, man? Man, hey, man, don't trip, man. Make sure you grab that notification right now, man. Appreciate you. But yeah, man. So now when people tell me no, I embrace the moment. This is a learning lesson. What do I need to learn? YouTube time. Asking people to show me how to do this and this and that. Don't answer. Don't tell me no, man. It forces you. You like, man, I'm low key. You weren't being mean to me. You almost were like that parent who's letting me fall. You know what I'm saying? Who's letting me struggle across this playground and bust my ass. Because if they keep coming to help me and save me, you know what I'm saying? Then I'm not going to learn shit. So I have to go out there and constantly fall on my face. You know what I mean? So sometimes people, when they don't help you, that makes you a much stronger individual. So now once I changed, I already got the tools. I bought these tools 5, 6 years ago, used the minimal, trying to use it to try to get my son to start a cell phone repair business that he didn't want to do. Right. And little did I know God had the plan so far ahead. He's like, man, I'm gonna get you to get this package now so that you can learn how to create. If your laptop breaks, your kid's laptop breaks, your wife's laptop breaks, you know how to change it, put memory in, the whole nine. So this one no turned it into a whole bunch of yeses and possibilities, dog. That's the beauty in it, man. Ain't no bads. None. There's no bads. There's no action. This is God's green earth, man. People miss that part. You know what I mean? Miracles are still popping, man, and lessons are still taking place. You got to embrace what's going on, man, and not get caught up into the fog and all the distraction and things that go on, because those do take place on purpose. And the distractions come in the form of a lot of different things. We know that. We've talked about them. Bill collectors, doubt, right? Envy, others coming up and shining right in front of you when you taking your L. That stings the most, homie. But you got to realize that, right? Like listening to make sure that your algorithm is right too on your social media feeds. This is where a lot of people mess up. If you pay more attention to bullshit, you'll get that. But if you watch and spend time watching those motivational videos like with Dame Dash or other cats, Jay-Z, Nipsey Hussle, they'll send you more of that too. So you can pimp your algorithm to where your content is all you of what you want and created. So that when I hop on social media, even though it's supposed to be a quote unquote negative, this is God's green earth. I remind you again, He's in control. So you can control that too. Mind you, I keep saying you can build and design the life that you want. You are the alchemist. It's your power. You can do it. It starts right here. Do you believe you can? Once you believe you can, and you think into power, thinking this into existence. I'd be thinking TV stuff and it happens. It's magical stuff. And I'm not lying. A lot of people, oh man, no dog. Them cats is getting exposed, man. I don't that ain't gonna happen. There's no gimmick. I'm not, I'm not the Wizard of Oz. You gonna expose? That's not gonna happen. You know what I mean? So I just tell people exactly what I'm experiencing. And like I said, I'm going through a dip right now. It's ugly. It always gets ugly around the holidays, but that's the time to be the most thankful because it's perceptually ugly, right? But it makes you focus because if I was focused on more business stuff, I would miss all this family stuff. And we always come back strong in January. It comes back hella. And it's like, oh man, why was I tripping in the first place? And that's the thing. If you pay too much attention to the negative stuff, you'll miss the gifts that God's giving you in those moments. Like right now, like I'm like, man, okay, so if I miss 1 week, the homies ain't gonna trip. I don't know what gift I'm getting ready to give them, which in turn gives it to myself at the same time. Right? I'm trying to help y'all succeed with this. But if you can't, like I said, if you can't find somebody that's done it before, I wish and I had good mentors in the game too. You know what I mean? I had some good cats that was solid. I mean, a lot of janky cats, you know what I mean, that I would go to and think would give me advice and they shady with it. That's okay. And sometimes you very well may run into that right now, right? So you got to be careful with going to people with advice because a lot of times they think that you're vulnerable. So this is and I know, you know what I mean? I get it. You know what I mean? But a lot of times they'll think that you're vulnerable. So which is why I'm like, man, that's not in my DNA. I'm not trying to bob cats over the head. Oh, for nothing. God pays me. So y'all straight. We straight. We cool. You don't owe squat. We fair exchange. We straight. It's the least I can do. Right? Because I took a lot of cats into the game, man. They got scars on them that they can't remove now. They got pinched and did all that shit. And that sits with me, right? Like parent households, all that stuff. Even though I was a youngster, it doesn't matter. I knew better. You know what I mean? So I'm one of the ones that's taking full responsibility for that, and it bothers me. So I tried to right my wrong by giving better advice. You know what I'm saying? Not hey, homie, here, get extras. Nah, dog, leave them Pyrex pots alone. Trust me. It gonna get you all day. If not get you all day, it's gonna get you to where some little young wolves think you got more money than you got and gonna come in there and try to kill you. And that's what I tell homies now. I'm like, this ain't even no the higher the stakes, the bigger the guns, the better the killer. I'm just saying, like it ain't worth it at all. And that's not cliche, homie. I'm just saying straight facts. It ain't worth it at all. No part of that. Trust me, when they get the clink on you and the homies go, man, you do that time by yourself with you and your girl, and you hope you ain't sharing it with nobody. I'm just speaking 100% facts. So that to switch back gears and get on a better subject, man, because I don't like to talk about that like that. But I do like to tell cats, like, man, that game was cool. It did what it was supposed to do, but it didn't do a lot. You know what I'm saying? Like it didn't for futuristic type stuff, it didn't really help me that much. You know what I'm saying? But it did. Like I'm kind of contradicting myself. So let me go ahead and try to explain, right? But what I mean by that is the things and tools that we took away from the game, right? From like the way we made money, the way we set up shop, the way we understood the market, the way we understood how to separate ourselves from our competitors, the way we had to do SWOT analysis, right? Before we knew what a SWOT analysis was. You know what I mean? We were doing this kind of stuff. So my goal is not only the homie, um, but somebody who was in the game and then now an educator and a businessman. You know, that combination of things can really serve people. It really can, right? Keep you away from the wrong thing, but have you in the right things with the right books at the right time, right? Because this stuff, everything is timing. A lot of this stuff may not resonate to you or, resonate with you at this time. It may resonate with you when you need it. Like my tools. I didn't need them at that time, even though I was trying to force them on my son. They came in handy when I needed them the most. So these tools that you're learning about right now, these are God sent tools, right? They may not make sense. They may seem like, man, like I said, I don't have a gimmick. It always reminds me of the Dave Chappelle. He's like, man, I need a gimmick. He like, you got to watch the episode where he's like, man, all these comics, man, they popping this and this and that. Man, I need a gimmick. And he was like, man, he put goat legs on and he was just dancing. He was going diddly 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 do. And I always say to myself, I don't have a gimmick. I don't have no big beard. I don't have a bunch of tattoos. I'm not talking all exotic and mispronouncing my words. I'm not doing none of that shit. So it seems like it's not as, you know what I mean, because I don't have the shenanigans and all this other stuff. And I'm not hating on these cats. That's what you need. I've never been an accessory guy. You know what I mean? My cars, if it was D's on there, it was just D's. I didn't have to put a bunch of other shit on there. You know what I'm saying? Like I was always simple and classic. You know what I mean? And that's how I am now. Simple and classic, straight conversations. Like we chopping it up in the pen. After we play basketball, after we didn't ate, we sitting there on the yard just chilling. That's let's elevate the conversation. You dig? That's what this is. This is banter back and forth. You know what I'm saying? And the more I experience in this business world and in life, the more I bring back to the homies and share. Most people don't watch this live. I get more likes way later. Like when people like, oh man, oh, I saw your shit. Whoa, 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 whoa. Oh man, that's a like, man, it ain't my ego cool, dog. I'm not tripping. If one person sees this homie and spreads the message, or at least changes their thought process, that's not changing the world, right? One drop can enough times is a stream, is a river, is an ocean. So it's the little drops that matter, right? It's the little things that matter. It's the showing up on Tuesdays at 7 that matters. Right? It's the showing up whenever you're doing a little inch that you can move your dreams. How much did you inch them on today? Did you? Okay. Well, if you didn't, that's okay. What you got going tomorrow? And the thing about it is, procrastination, that word just bothers me. Anytime I hear the word, I start moving. That's how allergic I am to procrastination, even though I do it a lot. But I'm learning about it. You know what I'm saying? And from a scientific standpoint, from a mental standpoint, like where does it derive from, and do more people do it? Because you hear all these stories, homie. Everybody's 15, 20. I work 80 hours a week. I don't get team no sleep. It's like team heart attack, nigga. You know what I'm saying? What you talking about? We gotta go to sleep, dog. And sometimes our best and most creative thoughts are when we're at play. Not when we're sitting there trying, oh man, I'm trying to figure this shit out. What you doing, D? Man, I'm thinking about my next master plan. Nah, dog. That shit might happen when you at a Mike Epps show in Long Beach and you go to the bar and be like, man, this bar is bullshit. And that might spark an idea, right? But it ain't gonna be when you sitting there like, man, I need to figure this out. And we had that conversation about desperation and chasing dreams. They don't like that shit just like females don't. Right? So don't act like that. Don't be hyper aggressive on that. Fall back. You know what I mean? I heard that today, man. Patience. Rome wasn't built in a day. And I'm talking to myself because I'm hella impatient. I'm like, man, I'm ready to sell some food. You feel what I'm saying? I'm ready to sell some food and I can't. And there may be a reason for that. I go over there. I just sit in there, like look at it. Just like, man, I'm looking at customers walking. The lady hit me up today. When y'all gonna open? Like I'm praying by December. She like, me too. Like, man, let's pray together. Feel me? And that's what kind of energy you need. But sometimes you gotta go look at your shit or whatever it is, dream you want. Go look at the pad. I don't give a fuck if you can't afford it right now. That's irrelevant, man. Show God what you interested in, though. You ain't gotta tell these cats because if you tell somebody who ain't never had the shit, man, they ain't gonna know how to respond to what you saying. And 9 times out of 10, that little peon ass brain disses it and tries to downplay it and that's all right, that's cool. Yeah, just or they'll try to. There's another thing that you got to be careful of. They'll take your dream beyond what you thought to make it even sound more unrealistic. Be like, yeah, I want to get the I'm looking at the crib man beach. Yeah, you should get the big one with the double pool and the tennis court. You're like, man, yo, I ask you for your input to put in my shit and try to make it seem like it's untouchable. Because that's what they'll do. They'll try to make it seem like it's a myth. Yeah, you should sell gold. Man, shut the fuck up, dog. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? You know what I mean? And you gotta sometimes, and that's the thing about it, like trying to get somebody to understand it ain't their dream. right? So certain things you don't, man. I'm not sharing that with you, dog. I don't want you to I don't want you to inflate it, like put so much air in it that it explodes. Yeah, well, you should get this one, and you should get the da 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 da. Man, I don't know why I mentioned this to your ass. Because you taking my dream to a whole nother level and it's making it seem like I can't get it now. So let me go ahead and tone it down for both of us, right? Never mind. Let me tell my journal, dog. My journal got a better response than your punk ass. And you have to take it that seriously, not in a negative sense, but checking people and making sure, like, hey man, I want to guide children, but I got a bark and a bite. Get your ass away from me, man. And if you genuine, that ain't gonna bother you. You know what I mean? But some people, dream killers, people whose minds hadn't expanded, you don't want to talk to them about that kind of stuff. They will destroy your dream, either belittle it or put so much air in it that it seems like it floats away. And anybody who's been around anybody like that, you know what I'm talking about. You know exactly what I'm talking about. So be careful with that. Be careful with running stuff by them that they don't understand. Hey, have you ever this is where you gotta kind of dip. Let me try this. Have you ever heard of this industry and see what their response is before you decide to talk about whatever it is you're talking about within that industry? How do they feel about it? Yeah, they say something off the wall. You already know. Drop the subject. Don't even bring it up to them. Wasting your time. It's not going to do any. It's not going to do you any good. You dig what I'm saying? So there are people out there that are willing to help, right? That are willing to talk to you. You know, some people I've I've reached out to a brother in San Diego, asked him about food truck, never responded. Looked at it. I don't even know if he looked at it or not. Same thing holds true, and I'm not taking that personal because it's going to be a timing thing. The guy who's doing the construction right now sent him a message. He looked at it, never responded. It wasn't for my relative to plug me into him, he would have never responded. That's how some things are, and you can't take it personal, right? Some things need to be lined up properly, and they need to be introduced. There needs to be an introduction. There may need to be somebody else involved. So if you don't hit on your first time, don't take it personal. If you reach out to somebody on LinkedIn and you see somebody and they ain't willing to talk to you, it might be a timing thing. Don't take it personal. What's meant for you is meant for you. It ain't gonna miss. I promise you that. It is not gonna miss. It's not gonna miss. It's not gonna be late. It's not gonna be early. It's not gonna be short. It's not gonna be too much. It's gonna be just what you need when you need it. That's how God works. That's how God delivers. I'm trying to tell you. And as hard as it is, you be like, damn, I almost, yeah, almost, man. But God don't deal in almost. So you're like, shit, almost. God, like, no, you didn't. I had the shit time right. I'm on some JIT, right? Just in time. Just in time. And you think, oh, whew, that's because you talking about human time. God's on some other shit. So whatever you're thinking doesn't matter. That's human stuff. He just laughs at human nonsense. Right. And that's exactly what it is. Us trying to time our when we're gonna get things. Like he laughing at me with this restaurant. Look at this guy. I gotta give it to him. Look at him. He up here. He won't let it go. He won't let me work. And I'm like, yeah, man, I'm kind of guilty of that, dog. I am kind of guilty of that. And I think more than just me is guilty of that, right? What we sitting up there thinking like, man, and you know what that does? Adds doubt to the situation. Doesn't help it. Doesn't move the needle. It adds doubt to the situation. And a lot of times we bring our doubt bags with us, right? We thinking I'm gonna start this new da, 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 da. But in the back of our mind, we got somewhere down and somebody to set some doubt in there. So you got to be careful with those who plant those seeds of doubt because there are they walk around and they like, yeah, man. So when your harvest gonna come? And I'm like, I don't know yet, man. I just planted my seeds. The whole time you talking to them, they starting to sprinkle doubt seeds up in your shit. You're like, wait a minute, man. I ain't no doubt up in my farm. What no, my crop was cool. I didn't have. Yeah, and here they come. Shoot, man. Are you sure you want? I don't know if you going, man. We might need to Which I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Man, what you mean, man? Yeah. And you got to shake them people away from you because those are the ones who are going to consult you with doubt seeds, right? Things that could go wrong. You talk to an attorney. Have you ever talked to an attorney? I'm just, and they get all offended. I was just saying, the attorneys. Man, have you talked to one? No. Well, then shut the fuck up. This is what you got to tell people who have never done what you're doing. Have you, when they hit you with it, have you thought about? No, fucking, have you thought about it? Have you thought about any of this stuff that I'm trying to do? Oh, no. Well, and then the feathers get ruffled again. Well, have you done it, dog? Well, I'm just saying, you know what I'm saying? Well, unless you've done it, miss me with the combo, homie. You know what I'm saying? Unless you're in the process of doing it, and we could sit up there and hash it out like me and the homie James, man, sitting in chalk. He doing it. He ain't talking in theory no more. He like, D, man, I'm windshield, man. I gotta go do this, man. But I picked up a check though. You in the mix. You can't tell him nothing. Period. Got his own truck. He making it happen. You can't tell the boy nothing. You can ask him questions though. Right? That's about it. Can't tell like what work. Asking, man, I got what. You can't tell me anything about work. Nothing. I don't care what kind of connect you got. I know who's watching him, and you ain't telling me nothing. Trust me. Trust me. I don't care who it is. Right? But business. Starting not to be able to tell me nothing about that either. People could talk about corporate stuff and all this, the intricacies of some stock markets and playing that game. But in terms of business, nah, you can't tell me nothing about that. Expansion, I got to learn a little bit more about that. How to go and build duplicated overstating. But that ain't, man, I could YouTube that. That's how I feel about everything right now. I could YouTube that, dog. He ain't doing nothing I can't YouTube, right? Speaking real, he ain't doing nothing I can't YouTube, dog. Period. Nothing. Everything. Riding the bike, skates, making hamburgers, heating up grease, freezing shit. Ain't nothing somebody can do that I can't YouTube. Nothing. And that's a powerful ass statement. You dig? That means that the power's back on us right now. We ain't at the mercy of no punk ass school, no professors. Nobody holds the holy grail of information anymore. That shit's starting to leak to everybody. And when that happens, man, the population gets stronger. We as individuals start to retain our power a little bit more. As consumers, we start to have a little bit more power. I don't have to subject myself to them fools breaking my computer for a fourth time or whatever. I'll learn some shit myself, and then me and my son can go in there. All right, go change my RAM real quick. Oh, your computer full? Okay, we'll take the back off, pull this out. We'll go to Circus, or I mean, not Circus City. Listen to this cat. We'll go to Staples or whatever, Best Buy, and we'll buy some more memory, put it in there, and you can download and do da. And that's a learning lesson for us. You know what I'm saying? It's supposed to rely on us. So the more somebody doesn't do something, man, the more us as consumers are going to be empowered. And now, as individuals, we got to look at ourselves and say, okay, so what are if I do have the opportunity to learn something, can I translate that into a business? Right? Because that's how business. I just read an article about a dude who went to Brazil. This is why it's so important to pay attention, man. Because I might even try. I'll tell you guys about a product after this story that we're going to drop based on my experience in Germany. But he went to Brazil and he was down and chilling. I guess it was study abroad, like my Germany trip. And he said he couldn't help but notice that they had this honey at a pizzeria with chili peppers in it. And he put the honey on the pizza and he's like, man, this shit's fire. Came back to the States, like, nobody's doing this. Nah, ain't nobody doing this. So I'm about to do it. And he started to make shit like hot honey. And he calls it Mike's Hot Honey or something like that. And I was like, okay. Now, when I went to Germany, they had this thing called a doner kebab. They had a doner kebab, and then they had these doner fries. And these doner fries were French fries in these cones with meat like this shawarma meat. You can either get chicken or the beef, cut up on it, put on top with curry ketchup on it, and it was like a nightclub food. It was gas, and you could hold it and get they put the French fries in it and put a fork in there, and you just eat it with the fork. Get meat and fries and the sauce in there. It was busting. But we getting ready to try that at the restaurant and cut some chicken nuggets up, put it on the fries, and put gravy on top, gravy or mambo sauce. So we getting ready to do that. You know what I'm saying? But these are the type of ideas that when you go someplace, keep your eyes and your ears open. And like I said, it's times like that to where you discover these amazing things. It's not when you're thinking about it, not when you're forced to try to figure it out, not any of that. Right? Things aren't forced, ideas aren't forced. They're 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 magnetized, right? You attract these ideas. They're not forced. You can't figure this stuff out, man. It comes to you. You dig what I'm saying? That's going to conclude the weekly tap in for this week, man. I wish you guys happy holidays, man. Trust me on that. I'm looking for a book. So if you guys have recommendations, man, put them right there, man. Put them right there. There's not much I haven't read, though. Just FYI. If you put it down there, I probably read it. I am one of them cats, man. I don't have my shirt on today, but I do wear it often. Hey, man, you guys will see me next week, man. Trust me on that one. Those who tapping in for the first time, those who always tap in every week, man. God bless you guys and thank you, man. Hopefully you're rocking towards your dreams this week. If not, man, thank God for what you have in front of you, anyways, because it is a blessing, irrespective of what it looks like. All right, tapping out. Tim, okay, I'm on that. Yeah, I was about to get that Rich Paul too. Happy Thanksgiving, man. See y'all tapping out.